Danielle Alvari from VSiN back here with Calvin Wetzel. He's a basketball analyst, writer, does it all really, and more importantly is a better, which is what we want to talk about because we have the women's Final Four, March Madness to talk about. We have Virginia Tech versus LSU. Virginia Tech, one of the one seeds remaining, and not really the one seed I was expecting to be remaining. I know that you also thought that Indiana was going to be here. They're not. Virginia Tech is. They've surprised me a lot, and a lot of this chalks up to their incredible defense. They're only allowing 57.1 points per game. Then you have LSU on the other side that I think a lot of people, as Angel Reese has reminded us in TikTok, thought not a strong enough strength of schedule for them. They're not actually going to be able to be up to snuff and make the Final Four, but they surprise as well. One of the best scoring offenses in the country, averaging almost 82 points per game, and also a top 5 rebounding team, which I think is going to be important if they advance past this game. We're seeing this line with LSU favored. So it was around 1.5. I'm seeing 2s now. So people buying in on the Tigers here with a total around 133 to 134.5. What are your initial thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I think this is a pretty sharp line. If I had to pick a side, I'd probably lean towards Virginia Tech getting the points, maybe have this closer to a pick 'em. But I have been impressed with them. Like you said, I was with you on thinking this was not the strongest one. I mean, even outside of South Carolina, I didn't think Virginia Tech was the
I
strongest
overlooked them.
of the other three. Yeah, I did too. I mean, they're a great story, and they came in so hot, from the last couple months in February and into March. But we see a lot of teams come in hot, and then they trail off in the tournament, and Virginia Tech has just kept it rolling. And Georgia Amore, by the way, if Caitlin Clark didn't exist, Georgia Amore would be like everyone's favorite player. Just so fun to watch. The way the step backs that she's hitting, and all of she has more threes. This is from Kevin Pelton on ESPN. This note, more threes through the first 4 tournament games than anyone has ever had. More than Caitlin Clark even this year. So tune in to watch her as well if you haven't heard of her. She's a firecracker on the court.
And of course, the other matchup, I already mentioned Angel Reese here. I'm sure people have seen her highlights floating about as well. She set an SEC record this year with 32 double-doubles. And then, of course, Elizabeth Kitley on the other side here has had a double-double in 3 of the Hokies' past 4 games. What do you think we're going to see in that matchup?
Yeah, they're both phenomenal posts, very, very different posts. Angel Reese is the best rebounder in the country by far, averaging 15 rebounds a game or around there. Elizabeth Kitley, back-to-back ACC Player of the Year, really, really good footwork scoring in the post. I think Angel Reese has the advantage in this matchup just in terms of the rebounding, and I think the physicality on both ends Angel is going to be more prepared for. So I think advantage to Angel in this one, but maybe advantage to Virginia Tech in the backcourt with Georgia Amore and some of their other players, Taylor Soule. So this is going to be a really, really evenly matched game. And it says something that, the most anticipated Final Four matchup is the other one we talked about, South Carolina, Iowa, because of the best offense and best defense. But that's the one that is, in theory, supposed to be, double-digit game according to the spread. This is the one that's supposed to be really, really close and down to the wire.
Yeah, I know. I agree. And I also think similar kind of play here in terms of Iowa and South Carolina being this offense versus defense matchup. I think similar with this LSU thing. Like I said, this is a really strong offense versus a very strong defense, and you're seeing that line a lot closer. The Hokies, again, maybe not getting enough credit. Definitely not by me, not in my bracket, but 22-4 against quad 1 and quad 2 opponents this season. 15 game win streak at this point, and then LSU 32-2, only 2 losses, but one of them was at South Carolina on February 12th, and it was not close. They lost 88-64. The Gamecocks, again, size, athleticism, this defense, they blocked 10 shots in that game. LSU was out rebounded 43-25. So my question for you is, if South Carolina advances, which of these 2 teams is better suited to possibly topple them?
To be honest, I don't think either of them are due. I actually think the best suited team in this that's left to do it is Iowa. But if I had to pick between these 2, I'm going to lean Virginia Tech just because I think Kenny Brooks' coaching is phenomenal. He's a brilliant X's and O's mind, a brilliant just tactical coach, and I think he'll come up with a really good game plan. What you have to do against South Carolina, you have to get crazy. You have to try something weird. You can't beat South Carolina without thinking outside the box because they're just so good at what they do and so true to their identity. So I lean Virginia Tech. And, of course, also we already saw the LSU matchup, like you mentioned. Didn't work out very well for LSU. I do think if that one happens, it'll be closer. I don't see another 24-point game. But if I had to lean a team that would match up a little bit better, I'd go with the Hokies.
Yeah. And also to your point about South Carolina, very elite coach team by Dawn Staley, another Coach of the Year award for her. So it does feel like South Carolina's championship to lose, the defending champs running it back. Another important question, what is Kim Mulkey going to wear? Feathers, sequins, what's the best? If you had to bet on something she's going to wear.
Yeah, we need odds on this, don't we?
I need odds on this.
I don't know, but what I'm interested in is which Disney villain is it going to resemble?
Emulate.
Yeah, exactly.
I would love some
Cruella
Maleficent.
DeVille. We've seen Yzma from Emperor's New Groove. I don't know if these were intentional, but that's what been called to mind for me when I see these outfits. Who is she? Who are we gonna get the side by side? Kim and some Disney villain, from some movie on Twitter. Those pictures are gonna be floating around, and who's that gonna be? That's my biggest question.
Yeah, to be fair, I am all for the feathers. I think it's amazing. I want to see more of it. Before I let you go, let's talk total real quick. Under, over, where are you landing on this one?
I'm leaning pretty hard under. I think between the spreads and totals of these two games, this is my favorite bet of the Final Four. LSU has been slowing the game down a lot, and we saw it in their last game against Miami. Granted, the shot making in that one was also atrocious, and that's just something you couldn't predict. But that game didn't hit 100. And LSU has had totals above 130 in all four tournament games, and they haven't hit 130 in any of those four games. Again, they got a total in the 130s in this one. I don't think it's hitting 130. As long as you see something in the 130s, I would take the under on this one. They're really turning into a half-court team as the postseason goes on, even going back to the ACC tournament. I think we see that continue in the Final Four. Yeah.
I'm excited for both of these Final Four games. Based on the Final Four teams we have here, who's your champion? Do I have to ask?
I got to go with the boring answer because it's the right answer. South Carolina.
Before I let you go to, what are the odds for them to win right now? Because they were minus 200 before everything started.
It's even more than that now. Minus 250, minus 320 at where you're looking. Yeah.
DraftKings, minus 320.
Yeah, you can get, I don't know.
So you missed the best price.
You did, yeah. On FanDuel, at least, I don't know what other books have it. You can get South Carolina versus the field. You could bet the other three at like plus 250 or something like that if you want to get spicy. But it's South Carolina's really, really the favorite right now.
Good for them. Good for them. And thank you again to Calvin Wetzel, as always, for coming on and talking with us. Make sure you check him out on Twitter at CWetzel31. He's going to be here to talk with me WNBA when that kicks off too, so definitely give him a follow. And for more sports betting content, resources, all that good stuff, subscribe to VSiN Live on YouTube and check out vsin.com.